Awesome. So a big, big welcome to you all for the webinar, How to Prepare for a Positive Birth. And I'm pretty excited to share with you a whole lot of stuff tonight. So hopefully you can all see what's on your, you can all see on your screen. The How to Prepare for a Positive Birth, okay? Do feel free as we move along to ask questions in the chat box, but I will be having a question and answer part of our session near the end. So if you've got specific questions, you might like to leave that for the end. But I am going to ask you for a little bit of feedback as we move along, for you to type in different things into the chat box. So do feel free to ask questions as we go along on there as well. Alrighty, okay, welcome. Let's get into this. As you know, this is going to be recorded. If you're here now live, awesome, excellent, great start. What I'm going to suggest is that you stay here till the end. There is going to be some special offers at the end. There is going to be special offers, prize draws at the end. So if you're here now, you might as well stay till the end. Or hopefully it's so interesting that you want to be here right till the end. And as I said before, grab pen and paper. Tonight, my intention for you is to get you thinking about why you might be thinking about birth the way you do, or why we think about birth in our culture the way that we do, and how you can help yourself to have a positive experience. Hopefully tonight's session is going to stimulate questions for you to be able to go out and find the answers or to find solutions, and to stimulate you to find out about how you can make informed decisions about your experience, about your birth journey the whole way along. It's also I really want to help you feel inspired by this incredible journey that you are obviously on at the moment. And most importantly, it's the how. I want you to know how and what you can do to prepare for your positive birth. And at the end, if you're still here at the end, I'm going to have a relaxation and connection exercise with baby for you to enjoy, just a nice little relaxation session. So first up, if you get nothing else out of tonight, I want you to know first up, this book here that's on the screen, this book that's in my hand, super easy to get a hold of off my website, has loads of information for you. It's only $35 to give you so much information that you can refer back to time and time again. And the podcast, if you haven't yet found the Positive Birth in New Zealand podcast, it is free, it is easy to find, it is amazing, incredible listening, and I'm going to be giving you some examples of some of the stories along the way that you can use to learn from, because it's all about learning from other people's experiences to help you have the best possible experience. So if you haven't met me before, haven't come across my path before, it's really nice to have you here. I'm Helen. Just a little bit about how I'm here. I created New Zealand's hypnobirthing program, the Positive Births New Zealand program, and have written a Positive Birth in New Zealand book. I host the Positive Births in New Zealand podcast, and I have been sharing hypnobirthing tools with thousands of couples now since 2007, which feels like a very, very long time ago. It is a long time ago. I'm now really old since I am a advanced hypnotherapist, a certified advanced hypnotherapist, a clinical hypnotherapist, and I have specialized in birth field as well as working with lots of other things. Birth is my favorite thing, or favorite topic to work with. I'm also, of course, a mum. I've got 3 kids. I'm just going to click to the next screen. These are my 3 top left-hand corner when they were very cute and little, and now they are big and old. And I just want to share with you a little bit about my first birth experience to Jess. She's now 23. She is pregnant again, and she's about to have another baby in about 4 or 5 weeks. So she's got Ali, who's 2. and I'm really looking forward to another baby and being at another birth really soon. But I just want to share this photo with you here, and I want to tell you that right there, right now, in that photo into early 2002, I'd just given birth to Jess. She was about 3 days old there. And through my whole pregnancy and birth journey, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. Now, it's fair to say that back in 2001, 2002, information was distributed very differently. There was no social media, and websites were relatively new. So it was books and a standard antenatal course. I wish somebody had told me to ask a whole lot of questions and get informed and read more books and ask more questions, because I knew nothing and I didn't find out very much at all. And I had no idea how much the birth process would impact on my life moving forward as a mother. For me, at that point in time, birth was just something that I just wanted to get out of the way, wanted to get it over and done with so I could hold my baby and carry on from there. And I had no idea of any types of processes. My midwife, she suggested I get induced because I was 41 and a bit weeks. I just said, okay, if that's what needs to happen. I was induced at a time where my labor had already slowly started, and I didn't ask any questions about how that would change the process or what effects that might have. Through the process, long story short, I was given all the drugs. So I had synthetic oxytocin to make my labor start. I had pethidine, which is supposedly to be a comfort measure, made me feel worse. I had an epidural. My body kept doing what it actually knew how to do. And it wasn't very long afterwards that I was fully dilated. My midwife told me to push. I couldn't feel a thing. And she gave me a time limit in which to get my baby out before the obstetrician would get her out. And lucky for me, my baby came out absolutely fine. So Jess came out absolutely fine. She knew what to do. My body knew what to do. But I had no tools, no skills, no idea about how to do this birth stuff. And I was left with, I'd had a whole lot of intervention. My midwife complimented me on a great birth. I went away and subsequently thought, well, next time I do this, I'm going to do this quite differently. And I did. 2005. 2005 was a big year for me. That's when I found out about a hypnobirthing program. Nobody really had heard of hypnobirthing back at that point in time. And I learned some tools and techniques which made a huge difference to the way that I could prepare for my labor and birth. And I'm going to now share with you a photo on the screen of my next baby, Jack. My midwife took this photo, and she took it just after he was born, because she was laughing when he was born. And she said to me, that was an incredible experience for her to witness. It looked like I had an epidural. So here I was using breathing, relaxation techniques, got myself into a really relaxed state, had the support of my partner, knew exactly what to do, knew exactly how to breathe, and out comes this great big chunky baby laid out on me. As you can see there, he is huge. And my midwife just thought this was absolutely amazing. So for me, it was like, oh my goodness, this stuff really works. It really helped me. I think this could be a popular program. So it was early 2007 that I trained to teach in this program called Hypnobirthing. And it's fair to say I haven't looked back. I trained to teach hypnobirthing, started sharing that early 2007, and then moved into doing a deeper dive into hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And as I said, I specialize in the pregnancy and birth world. I also do a lot of work with parents, helping them to overcome a difficult birth experience, releasing trauma, healing from birth. I work with parents of young children, helping them with coping mechanisms and strategies. And also work with the general public, all sorts of people who are coming to me with anxiety, stress-related issues, lots of addictions. I do a lot of hypnotherapy for weight loss, for emotional release, for all sorts of weird and wonderful and challenging situations, which is all very, very interesting. But my favorite thing to do is to work with the pregnant couples that I meet. And I would love for you to share in the comments right now. Are you pregnant? What do you do? Is it your first baby? Is it your second baby? Love for you to share with me right now about where you are at in this stage of life. Okay, so tell me. Okay, we've got first baby due September. Congratulations. First baby due in July. First baby due in August. First baby due May. Awesome. We've got all these first babies. I'm so glad that you're here if you're having your first baby, because oh my goodness, there is so much information that you can get on board now in your pregnancy to make sure that you have the best possible experience. First baby due May, August, first baby May, first baby September. Awesome. June, May, July. Yeah, all these first-time parents. Awesome. 35 weeks, Danielle. There's still time to do some stuff. July, April. Oh my goodness. Awesome. May. June, May. Yeah, May's coming around real fast. I know, because I've worked with a lot of parents this year, June, May. There's something about May this year. My daughter's due in May. I've got heaps of parents that I've taught recently who are due in May. 4 weeks time, May. Yep, May is the month. 33 weeks currently with transfers baby. Emma, that baby can totally turn. Absolutely, still heaps of time. I know that right now you're probably thinking, oh gosh, what happens if baby doesn't? Highly likely baby will, but a bit of relaxation will really help. August, congratulations, Poppy. June, Abby and Matt. First baby June, August. Third baby, awesome, Crystal, welcome. I know that you will have had previous birth experiences, and hopefully you can take away a lot from our session tonight to help you have the best possible experience this time. First baby, Kelly also having third baby, also third pregnancy. Oh, third pregnancy. Sorry about that, Kelly. Third pregnancy, first baby due September. Awesome. Big congratulations. So exciting. And congratulations for for that pregnancy. October, June. Oh, wonderful. Excellent. We've got a great range of due dates here. Awesome. Okay. Now, next question. I want you to be really honest about this, really super honest. There is no right, no wrong here. Honesty. What's coming up for you when you think about birth? What do you think of? What are the words that come to mind when you think about having to give birth? Looking forward to hearing some honest answers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nervous. I hear you, Kat. Yep. You won't be the only one. Exciting. Kimberly. Awesome. We can be nervous and excited at the same time. Jen, scared. Sorry to hear that, Jen, but that is really, really normal. Jessie, joy, love it. Yeah, oh my goodness, a bit scary. This is what, yeah, so many people say. Empowering, hopefully, yes, hopefully, Greta, hopefully empowering. I really hope so. Yeah, the unknown. Oh my goodness, Emma, yes. It is all going into the unknown. It's a completely new journey. And I really want to say that for first-time parents, you're on this journey that you've got to learn. Well, you don't have to, but it's really good if you learn so much stuff about a topic that you've never needed to know before. And you've got this short, limited space of time in which to learn all about something that is going to have a huge impact on your life, your baby's life, your partner's life, your life as a family. So yeah, it can feel really daunting moving into this unknown time. Excitement, natural, woman power, some anxiety, so awesome, Louise. Scott and Brittany don't want to use medicine, drugs. Fair call. Okay, so looking for the most normal, natural, physiological process. Okay, yeah, pain, long, unknown. Yeah, these are words that often come up because we're going to talk about that soon. Why? Why have we got those feelings? Excited and nervous. Yeah, pain, nervous. Beautiful process. Patience. Yeah, there's a lot of patience required over the next, shall we say, 20 years of parenting. Oh, Lainey, absolutely terrifying. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you there, and thank you for admitting that. Yeah. Lucy, excited for the challenge, having faith in my body, but the anxiety is kicking around things. Yeah. What if things go wrong? Because we're not in control of everything. Oh, your dream, Georgia. You were told you needed emergency C-section, had to grow. Oh gosh, that's a process in a dream. Interesting, these dreams that we have when we're pregnant. Yeah, challenge. Yeah, there can be lots of challenges along the way, Hemi, and it's not to say that you can't overcome them, but there's often a lot of challenges. Danielle, nervous this time around with having gestational diabetes. There are a couple of stories on my podcast that you might like to listen to around the topic of gestational diabetes, understanding that you still have some choices. And there's one that I am going to mention later on tonight. So just maybe take a screenshot of that because, yeah, I just want you to know that it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the type of birth that you want to have. Heard so many horror stories. Yeah, nervous. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I love the. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, we've got some mixed reports, some mixed reactions, which is always really normal. And I wonder why. I wonder why there's this nervousness, this feeling of unknown. There's the stories about pain, anxiety, stuff like that. I mean, I really want you to start to think about how birth is presented in our culture and how it is being presented to you growing up in your family, surrounded by the people that you're surrounded, and how that has shaped your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. So when I move on to this screen here, I mean, top picture, it's crazy. This is what came up for me when I put birth into the search bar of YouTube. Okay. And for me, this is like, oh my goodness, this says it all. This is what mainstream narrative often is. Here we go. We've got two males looking terrified, frightened, panicked, and a mother who is displaying signs of distress on her face, ambulance in the background, hospital. Okay, it's portraying this picture of, this is terrifying, this is dramatic, this is horrifying. Whoopsie. And it's high drama, and this is often what has been presented to us. Like the pictures on the bottom are from movies you may or may not have seen as you were growing up. And I want you to start to think now and then start to ponder later on, what stories have you heard in your life growing up? How has that impacted on the way that you're thinking about birth now? What have people shared with you? What are they sharing with you now? What's birth? How has birth been presented on the TV and movies? How could that be influencing your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs? And how is birth talked about in our culture and in the circles that you move in? Because it is being talked about often in a way that is not usually helpful or inspiring or positive. And I'm sorry if that has been your experience growing up, hearing negative stories or being surrounded by images or messages that are saying that birth is a dramatic, traumatic event, because it can be very different to that. But all too often, that's not the narrative, and that's not what we have been told about birth. And the way that birth is often presented creates feelings within us that make us feel insecure, make us feel nervous, make us feel doubtful, make us feel anxious, make us feel worried. And all of this is creating what I'm going to call, and you're going to learn, is the greatest enemy of birth. And the greatest enemy of birth is fear. And it's fair to say that a lot of stories can create fear. And I just want to share with you how fear can impact on how we feel through our pregnancy and how it can impact on our birth experience before we go into how birth can be and how it is when we're free of fear. So first up, if you're feeling stressed, nervous, worried, terrified through your pregnancy about this event, which, baby's in there, baby's growing, baby's got to come out. There's a certain point in pregnancy, sometimes it hits us where we go, oh my goodness, I have to give birth to this baby. And I hope for you that that's not a time where you that you dread. Oh my goodness, how am I going to get my baby out? The stress hormones that we get when we're feeling nervous, anxious, frightened in our pregnancy is not really great for us because it's making our bodies more stressed, and it's not that great for baby, especially in the last 3 months when baby is feeling all of your emotions via the hormones connected with them. Your body is going to get the message that birth is dangerous, or birth is something to be tensed up, braced against. And the messages that your body is getting, if you're worried about birth, is that, oh, I need to fight this. I need to protect myself against this. And that's not what we want. Fear also puts us into the fight or flight response, which is something I talk a lot more about in my literature, the sort of stuff that I have written and in my courses, and understanding what happens when we get into that fight flight response and how that impacts all the different parts of our body, and why it's so much better not to be in that state, but to be in a calm, relaxed state. So fight or flight also affects the way that our muscles can work in labor and birth. And if there's one topic that you might find really, really helpful to learn about, it's how our muscles work through labor and birth, how the muscles of the uterus work through labor and birth, and understanding that fear completely gets in the way. It disrupts the hormone pattern, and it disrupts the way that the muscles work, and therefore makes it a lot harder for us to be able to move smoothly through the process of labor and birth. Now, fear can also get in the way of us making informed decisions, asking a lot of questions through our pregnancy, through labor and birth, and can actually influence the way that we make our decisions from a place of fear, so feeling like we're threatened, feeling like everything's dangerous, as opposed to a place of calm and confidence and expanding our mind up to asking more questions to find out all our options. So fear can really impact on the birth experience in such a huge way. And my aim for everyone that I have the privilege to share stuff with is to help you feel free of fear and in a calm, confident space, so that that fear isn't interfering in the process. How do you get rid of fear? And the first thing is for those of you that did note that you're nervous, you're frightened, you're anxious, you're terrified, thank you for acknowledging it, and thank yourself for acknowledging it. Do acknowledge it, recognize it, it's there for you. And then moving through the process of releasing it, which can involve a number of different steps. It might just start with talking to someone about it. It could be talking to your partner, it could be talking to a friend, it could be talking to your LMC. It could involve, and this is something that I do a lot of work with, is specific fear release processes for couples and for pregnant mums in their pregnancy. And it could also involve finding out helpful information and support about what it is that you can do in order to feel better about a particular situation. Or even if it was, I'm fearful about the lack of control, I'm fearful about not knowing what's going to take place, or the unknown. Well, therefore, a way of moving through that fear could be taking on board helpful information, finding out all your options, finding out what questions do you need to ask in situations that you've never been in before, to evaluate the situation, to be able to make informed and empowered decisions, and finding out where you can find that information from and all that support. And some of those questions will be answered for you tonight. So I want you to now maybe take a moment to jot down, and please feel free to share in the comments also, how do you want to feel about your birth? How do you want to feel about your birth? Do you know what type of birth you'd like? But just the comment, how do you want to feel about your birth? And it's not how do you want your birth to go? How do you want to feel about your birth? And you may have an idea of what type of birth you would like. And then I'm going to ask, do you feel prepared and equipped to be able to do that? You don't have to answer that question tonight. But how do you want to feel? Here's some words that might help trigger. Do you want to feel calm? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel relaxed? Do you want to feel informed? Do you want to feel supported, safe? Do you want to feel capable? Do you want to feel proud of yourself? Do you want to feel the ability to be able to just trust in the process? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Feeling in control. And do you know what, Emma? I'm just going to say one of the things I come across all the time is mums coming along to my classes saying, I'm here because I want to feel in control. And I'm going to say, well, how ironic is this? I'm going to suggest that you let go of control in order to feel in control. And the difficult thing is that with birth, it's such a different situation to a lot of what we encounter in our day-to-day life, because we can't control certain factors. We can't control when our baby decides to arrive. We can't control how long it's going to take. We can't control the exact position of our baby. We can't control whether our midwife is available for us on that day or whether that's her weekend off, or we can't control what the weather's like. We can't control whether your birthing space if there's a room available or not. There's so many factors we can't control, but when we can control the way that we respond, when we can control how we respond in our mindset, our state of relaxation or a state of calm, our state of feeling safe and supported by our partner, and with our breathing and things like that, well, then that enables us to be in control of a situation, which is often, we can't control so many. Confident, yeah, Kimberly, yeah, currently not feeling as prepared as I want to be. Awesome. Well, you've got time to feel confident, and you've got time to get prepared. Even if for those of you who've only got a few weeks, you've still got time to feel prepared. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So thinking about how you want to feel. And it's a really good idea also to have an idea of what type of birth you'd like. And it's not that you have to have this type of birth. It gives you something to work towards. But then it gives you something to think about. Do I feel equipped and prepared to be able to have that type of birth? And then think about, so what preparation am I doing? Because as much as I don't like comparing birth to running a marathon, because a marathon, we know exactly how long it's going to take. Birth could be heaps shorter and faster. It could also be longer, and we don't know how it's going to be like. But what I would say is that if you were, thinking that in, what was it, May, June, July, August, September, October, whenever your due month is, I'm going to run a marathon then, you probably wouldn't sit back and think, oh, it's going to be fine. It'll take care of itself. I'll just rock up on the day and see what happens. You probably would buy some running shoes. You'd probably get out and start running. You could even engage, a personal trainer to help teach you some tools and techniques to make your running style better, or whatever it might be. You'd probably do a few practice runs or whatever it might be. You would do some prep. Birth, I have met plenty of people, and I was one of those myself. First birth, we'll just, we'll hope it all goes for the best. And so second time around, I was like, no way, I'm doing some prep work. And, of lots of people that I've met in their second pregnancy, they're like, yeah, nah, I thought it would be, I just wasn't prepared for what it was. And I didn't have any tools in the toolkit to be able to use. My partner didn't know what to do. So therefore, I'm thinking about prep. What do you need to get on board to do prep? Because what I'm going to ask you is, what if your birth could be one of the most ecstatic experiences of your life? And this is Therese in the bath, meeting her baby, and look at the expression on her face. What if you could achieve your greatest goal? Now, I don't think there's anyone in here, correct me if I'm wrong, and there might be somebody watching in the replay later. These mums here, they're all holding babies after having C-sections in a previous birth. Okay, so they had VBACs, it's a vaginal birth after cesarean. They all achieved their greatest goal, which was to have a vaginal delivery after previous C-sections. Kiki in the middle had 2 previous C-sections, and her story is on the Positive Births New Zealand podcast, and it is one of those must listen to stories, because she shares so much about her journey of questioning, of asking, of saying no, of changing care providers, of doing everything that she could do to have the type of birth she wanted, even when the odds were stacked against her. And likewise with Faith's birth, that she's on the right hand side holding her baby. They actually lost their home in Cyclone Gabrielle a week before her baby arrived, and so her life was in complete chaos, and she birthed at a friend's place. And it's an incredible story of what she overcame to have her dream birth. Faith's belief was that the story in her family, all us women have 40-hour labors. And so she believed, I'm going to have a 40-hour labor. It's going to be really hard. Now, her first baby was born via C-section, and she had initially the belief that, oh, I just can't do it. My body's just not designed for this. And then in her second pregnancy, when I met her, she was like, no, I want to do this. I want to give this my absolute all. I want to give it my best shot. But all the women in my family have 40-hour labors. So we kind of released that belief for her, changed it around. It doesn't have to be 40 hours, and hers wasn't. It was about 5 or 6 hours for her to birth her baby, which is actually her first vaginal birth. So it's interesting for us to understand, how could our beliefs, our thoughts, and stories be getting in the way, and how can we let go of those to take on board new and better beliefs? Tash, at home in the pool. What if everything worked out just the way it was meant to, and it all actually ended up being smooth and calm and comfortable and exhilarating? What if you felt calm and control and confident? This is Ash in the water here, having her first baby. You can listen to her story on the podcast. And she felt completely in control and calm and confident. And what if you were like Jess and Warren, and Jess writes about her partner being the most incredible birth support. And she says, I am so grateful we got to experience birth the way we did. And my wish is for every woman to know that she is powerful, capable, and can have an overwhelmingly positive experience like we did. Believe in yourself, your body, and your baby. And for the partners, do not underestimate your value. I know I could not have done it without Warren. Our bond has been strengthened by such a powerful and emotional shared experience. What if your birth was just amazing? These ladies all proved stats wrong. So if somebody's telling you, you can't do this because you're too old. Janelle was nearly 45, having her second baby, told that she couldn't have a home birth. She actually also had a VBAC. Couldn't do that because she's too old, and, stats say it's too dangerous. But she did it. Same with Amy. Basically, everything said, you're not going to be able to achieve this, but she did. Emma, well, her midwife fully supported her through to 43 weeks in her pregnancy, but if she had gone into the hospital, they would have, said, oh no, your baby's going to die if you leave your baby in there for that long. And that's actually not true. She's had 2 babies now at 43 weeks. It's just how her body carries babies. It's just when her body and her babies are ready. So you don't have to be put into a box just because you're a certain age, or just because you've got, shall we say, gestational diabetes or something else that's been that you've been diagnosed with. You can still work towards the type of birth that you want to have. This lady here on the screen, Sarah J. Buckley, highly recommend you read any of her material or listen to any of her interviews on any podcast. She is one of the world's leading experts on natural birth, the hormones of natural birth. She's Kiwi, and she travels around the world sharing her research about normal, natural, physiological birth. And this quote from her: birth is a peak bodily performance for which our bodies are superbly designed. And if you haven't grown up believing that, now is the time to start engaging in all this information that will tell you why your body can give birth, how the hormones work, how everything comes into play, how when you leave birth alone and you don't interfere, it can be this beautiful, exhilarating, amazing, incredible, powerful experience. So it's time to start getting that information on board, to start understanding birth is a really incredible, amazing experience. Another lady, very famous midwife, Ina May Gaskin. Highly recommend any of her literature. She's written a number of books. I love this quote from her: there is no other organ quite like the uterus. If men had such an organ, they would brag about it. So should we, ladies. highly recommend that you find out why the uterus is so incredible and so amazing. Your uterus is perfectly designed to get your baby out. Now, of course, right now your uterus is nurturing and growing your baby. So uterus, womb, same thing. And when it comes to the right time, when your baby and your body is ready, that uterus is going to get into gear, do a number of incredible things to get this baby down and out and into the world and into your arms. And so it can be really powerful to understand how it works and what it does, because, you know, when you know how your body works through labor, so if you don't already know, you want to find out. And then how can you work with it? How can you be in the best possible state of mind? So getting your mindset into the right place to be able to work with your body, allow your body to do what it does, and support your body to move through the process of labor and birth. Yeah, because it is, at the end of the day, it's a normal natural process. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. We are hardwired to know, our bodies know how to give birth, our babies know what to do. And you do too. But all too often, it's not going to be handed to you on a plate. This is not the information that your midwife is going to be able to give to you, because it takes time. It takes time that a lot of midwives don't have. Midwives do an incredible, amazing job, but it's fair to say they are stretched to capacity. They have limited time to work with you. In certain parts of the country, there is an absolute shortage of midwives, especially in Auckland, and they are trying to do the best that they can do. Antenatal courses, there's a variety of antenatal courses there. Most of them are going to provide you with a lot of information, but not necessarily how to work with your body or how the body completely works. And so your midwife, your obstetrician, you're not going to find out about it there. It is up to you to go searching for the information. And this is the beauty of living in this day and age and being pregnant in this day and age, as opposed to 23 years ago when I was first pregnant, is that we do have access to a lot of information. Now, that can be a blessing and a curse, because, of course, a lot of information means a lot to sift through. And this is where I'm going to point you in the direction of who are the best researchers, what is the best information for you to look at to support a normal, natural, physiological process, or for you to understand what all your options are and how birth works. So yeah, knowledge can often become power, and therefore knowledge about yourself, about your body, about your baby, about your birth, because it is yours. It's nobody else's baby. It's nobody else's birth process. It's all yours. So this is really, you are on a discovery of self-empowerment. You're on a journey of self-empowerment to find out as much as you can to help you, your baby, your family on this journey now. And then to feel self-empowered, to feel empowered. I want you to take a moment to think, how does it feel to feel empowered for your birth? And when we start to think about, I feel empowered, I feel confident, I feel strong, I feel capable, I feel calm about this, very prepared. When we start thinking like that in our mind, what happens in the body is the body starts to get ready too. A topic that I am very passionate about, that I could spend all day talking about, the mind-body connection. Understanding what goes on in the mind has a huge impact on your body. And another famous midwife, it's one of her very well-known quotes, she'll say 90% of birth has to do with what's going on up here. What's going on in your head affects the way that your body makes its way through birth. So it is so, so important to get your mind into that right headspace. And so what then is a positive birth experience, and what is a positive birth? Because, of course, birth can go a number of ways. And a positive birth isn't necessarily one where it goes exactly the way that you hoped it would, or you planned for it to, or you thought it should. But a positive birth is one where you feel safe, where you feel supported and loved and respected. Positive birth is one where you've got tools and techniques to be able to draw on, to be able to use to help you, and you feel calm and relaxed, free of fear. A positive birth journey is one where you know what questions to ask along the way to make empowered and informed decisions. And ultimately, you can look back on whatever happened. So whatever played out along the way, whatever, regardless of the twists, the turns, the deviations, whatever may have occurred, you can look back on it and know that you did the best that you could do at the time with the situation that you were in. So how? How can you move forward to achieve your positive birth? And first up, as I've already alluded to, it starts in the head, beliefs. And you can start this right now, examining your beliefs. What are my beliefs? What are my thoughts? Are they helpful? You know, some mums I meet, it's like, well, I'm a wuss. I'm a wuss. I have a really low pain threshold. So I believe I'm probably not going to be able to tolerate birth that well. And I hope you've listened to some of the podcast stories that I have where mums have said, you know, that was my thought process at the beginning of my pregnancy. I just want a C-section because I've got a really low pain tolerance. I'm not going to be able to cope with birth. And then we did some work together, and then they go on to have these incredible, amazing births. And they come out the other side and they go, well, actually, I rocked that and I was amazing. And now that belief has been blown out of the water. You know, is it, yeah, there's can be all sorts of beliefs and thoughts and feelings that we have. Are they helpful? Are they helpful for you to achieve what it is that you want and how you want to feel? Are you open to looking at things from a different perspective? Are you open to new ideas about this topic of birth? Because when you open up your mind to, birth doesn't have to be the way that everyone's told me about, you know? Birth doesn't have to be the way that maybe my friends have said to me or my mum or someone else. Birth can be a different way. And I'm going to point you in the direction of watching and listening to some really positive birth stories to open up your mind to how birth could be, not how it has to be, but how it could be. Using birth affirmations, positive statements about yourself, your body, your ability to birth, like the one on the screen here. You know, I am powerful, I am strong, I am capable. Now, even if that's not something that you believe right now, what would happen if you just kept plugging that into your ears, or you kept looking at that and saying that and started to open your mind up to believing, hey, this could be true. I am powerful, I am strong, I am capable, because that can set in motion a wonderful way of thinking about how you can cope through this incredible experience. So finding positive births on YouTube and positive birth stories, which I'm going to, as I said earlier, I'm going to have all the most important information for you coming to you in an email with links where you can find that, so that you can move down that path of finding those stories and helping to change your mind about what birth can be like and what you can achieve. Supporting that with information, positive information, inspiring information, correct information. Okay, information from independent researchers, not researchers that are funded for certain studies that might benefit the hospital system or whatever it might be. No. Learn about what your body is capable of from the woman on the ground, the people who have been there, done that, are now researching it. And there's a list of books and podcasts and authors that are just absolutely, it's gold, absolute gold. What Sarah J. Buckley is putting out into the world, the research that she's doing. Sarah Wickham, oh my goodness, such incredible resources. So I can't remember your name, the lady who had gestational diabetes, jump onto Sarah Wickham's website and look up all the information and the stats and the research she has around gestational diabetes. If your midwife says your baby's too big or too small, go looking at other independent researchers and what they say about, is induction a good idea? Is intervention a good idea in these situations? You do have access to a huge amount of information from very well researched and respected authors, midwives. And so there's a list of podcasts there that are, once again, absolute gold. So this is not fluffing around. This is getting to the nitty-gritty of the best people in the industry to give you the best resources for supporting your positive birth. Sets of tools to be able to help you. So first up, as I have said earlier, releasing fear is really important, because if you can go into this birth feeling calm, feeling confident, not bogged down or weighed down by a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness, a lot of fear, it's going to change the way that your body can move through the process. And that can be supported with breath work, to work to help keep you calm and relaxed when labor starts, to help you work with the muscles as your uterus, your body, moves through the process of labor and birth. So different breathing styles, relaxing, softening that body so that you're not tensing up, you're not fighting, you're not, gripping everything. To brace yourself against what's happening, that you're relaxing into it, because as soon as you relax into it and you breathe with what your body is doing, your body gets the message it is safe to do this, and it is far more likely to proceed a lot smoother and a lot more comfortably. Mindfulness tools, keep your mind in check, being in the present moment, not worrying about what might happen next, what might not happen next, or not catastrophizing, just keeping your mind in check. Visualizations to work with your mind, the body connection, what your body is doing, helping you to feel comfortable. So there are a lot of tools, and there's a lot of tools that I teach, enabling you to understand how you can work with your body, and how you can get mentally into the right place, feel good emotionally, and feel good physically. A huge component of preparing for a positive birth is having your partner on board. And that is huge. I mean, yes, you can do this all on your own if you need to, but it is so it's so helpful to have a partner. So if it's not your partner, then having somebody, a friend, a sister, a mum, someone to support you through this process, and having them on board, helping them to be in the right mindset to support how you want to feel and what you want to experience, because they need to know how to support you in labor and birth, because it's an amazing thing that happens when we're experiencing a normal, natural, physiological birth. The beautiful birthing hormones that are flowing through our body that are also helping to keep us calm and keep us focused. What it also means is that there's a part of your brain that actually needs to feel really calm and sort of kind of, I say, go offline a little bit. The neocortex, the thinking part of your brain, the brain that's responsible for language, for making decisions, for thinking through things, it actually needs to get quite dozy, because you want to be birthing from the primal instinctive part of your brain, the limbic system. And when we birth from that part of our brain, birth is a primal instinctive process. We want to birth from that part of our brain. And so therefore, not having to ask too many questions or to answer too many questions, not having to have to fight for anything in your labor and birth. If you have a birth support person who's on board, they can be asking the questions. They are doing, shall we say, a lot of legwork. They're going to be supporting you in feeling calm and comfortable, and supporting you for how you want to feel and what needs to happen. And you are just in that place of being able to release, relax, let go, and allow it to happen. So support from your partner, and also for asking questions about your midwife, and talking to your midwife, and making sure your midwife is on board to support the type of birth that you want to have as well. How to prepare for a positive birth? This is a big one. Being curious. Questioning everything. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Trusting this normal natural process. When you start to learn about the normal natural process, and you start to understand how it's designed to play out, how it's designed to go, you can naturally have a lot more trust in what is going on. And mums, you have a huge amount of intuition. You know your bodies incredibly well. You do. You know your body better than anyone else because you've lived with your body all these years. Getting in touch with your intuition, understanding if something feels right, it's probably right. If it feels a bit off, it's probably a bit off. So trusting that, being curious, asking questions. I'm going to move on to that because I wonder, do you know, does your partner know how to go about avoiding unnecessary intervention? Now, I am not anti-intervention. Intervention and the medical system is amazing when it is truly required. We are so lucky to live in this era of time where we have access to amazing interventions, surgery, whatever it takes to help you and baby if you are in a genuine place where you need it. However, we also live in a day, in an age where there is a system that is in process, that is very happy to dish out a whole lot of intervention along the way, maybe not always when it's really required. And I'm going to talk about asking lots of questions. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you a list of questions, or shall we say a framework for asking questions to evaluate situations. Because first up, you're in a completely new situation, often in a different environment. You don't know what you don't know. And all too often, if you don't ask anything, you're not going to get it. You often have to ask questions, or ask to understand, or ask to find out more, or ask to get to something. And when I talk about asking quality questions, sometimes things are presented to us. I'm going to give you an example. I've heard this from a lot of mums. They're in a certain situation where they might be talking to, it could be a midwife, could be obstetrician, could be someone at the hospital. And there might be a comment made, well, you're at 40 weeks now and there's a risk of stillbirth if your baby's not born this week. But at week 42, the risk of stillbirth doubles. Now, when you hear that can be pretty scary. If someone was to look you in the eye and say, right, if you leave your baby in there for 2 more weeks, the risk of stillbirth doubles. Now, most parents at that point in time will go, I'll do everything I can to get this baby out before 42 weeks because I don't want that risk of stillbirth to double. Digging deeper. What else do I need to know about this? What else do I need to know? Can you tell me more about this risk of stillbirth? And one really important thing to understand is that the risk of stillbirth could go up from 0.015% at week 40 to 0.032% on week 42. Now, please don't quote me on these exact numbers because they might change depending on what situation you're in there. But that's an example of the kind of things that can get thrown out. And parents, oh my goodness, because of course we all want to navigate this time in our lives and have a healthy, alive baby. We're not going to put our babies at risk, but asking that will give you an understanding, okay, so the risk is still really, really low at 42 weeks. And then asking, so you're suggesting induction, what are the risks of induction? What are the risks of this medication if I take this? And what are the risks of that if I take this? And what are the risks of that? So that you can weigh things up. And if you don't ask, usually things are not elaborated upon because it's just like, well, as part of the system and part of the recommendations, we will recommend X, Y, and Z. And a lot of people will just go down that pathway. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but if you want to find out more, you have to keep asking questions. Now, the stats from Auckland City Hospital in 2023 are absolutely horrifying. 44% of births at Auckland City Hospital in 2023, 44.6% of them were C-sections. At Auckland City Hospital, only 42.9% of births were spontaneous vaginal births, which means women that went in there and naturally delivered a baby. Full-term mums, 41.7% of them had an induction. Now, these stats come from an amazing page that you might like to follow. Maternity.org.nz is a website. On Instagram, Maternity Services NZ, and they will give you a huge amount of relevant statistical information from New Zealand. Now, I've just got the Auckland stats there. Sometimes it can be really difficult because of the different health boards and the way the stats are presented. It can be really difficult to get an overall New Zealand view picture, but you can look for your area. But a really great website to find out what is what, and a really great Instagram page to follow, because they are encouraging mothers to find out, mothers and fathers, to find out all the information they need in order to make decisions. Now, how is it almost half of births at a hospital are C-sections? You know, 2022, overall in New Zealand, 32% of births were C-sections, so 1 in 3. The World Health Organization recommends that C-section rate should be around about, for each country, between 10 and 15%, because higher rates of C-section doesn't equal lower maternal and newborn mortality rates. So it doesn't equate, more C-sections doesn't mean that less women and babies are dying. 2015, 25%. What changed? You know, between 1965 to 1985, C-section rates went up over 400%. In 1970, C-section rates were 5.5%. What has changed with our ability to birth? Have our bodies changed that much that all of a sudden in the last 50 years that our bodies are incapable of birthing? No, not at all. Policies, procedures, systems have changed. And I'm not going to say whether that's good or bad. I'm just going to say that's what it is. But if you want to avoid being a mum that has a C-section just because it might be more convenient or because it's suggested, then you're going to need to find out how you can navigate around that. Okay, so this is a screenshot from Maternity Services NZ. 1 in 3 mums, or so no, 30% of mums have their labours induced. Do you know what an induction is? Do you know what is involved in that? Because quite often it's just because women are often induction, just like I was at my first birth, just because I was past my due date. Now, babies are considered to be full term between 37 and 42 weeks. You're not past your due, you're not overdue until you pass 42 weeks, but there is a common belief in our society that you need to have your baby around week 40. Week 40 is the average. Okay. A lot of women are advised to have an induction well before the 42nd week of pregnancy. You don't have to if you don't want to. You do not have to do anything that you don't want to. You know, and just looking back, 2006, it was only 19% of mums were having an induction. What has changed? It's not the way that we birth. It is the system that is changing. But I want you to know that you are allowed to say no to everything. You are allowed to say no to everything. It might not be easy, but you are allowed to say no to everything, because actually the policies and procedures are set up so that you have rights to be able to say no to everything. But it's not always easy. And I've already talked about, you want to listen to Kiki's story, and she will tell you how to say no to everything. She can say no to everything to get her own birth. And she's just rocking it now. She feels so incredibly proud of herself. You need to ask the question. So this is Eliza and Georgiana. Eliza had gestational diabetes last year, and she was told that the policy was that she should be induced at 38, 39 weeks. Maybe 40 if she was really lucky, but 38, 39 weeks is the recommendation. Her midwife needs to provide her with the policies, the procedures. Your midwife, your LMC, is governed by policies and procedures that they need to fit in with. Your midwife needs to tick certain boxes and tell you certain information in order to keep within the guidelines so that she can renew her license on a yearly basis. She is governed by the system. You are not. She just needs you to ask the questions. Eliza said, what would happen? What would happen if I just, because of course Eliza was told she needed to be induced and she needed to birth at a hospital because she was high risk having gestational diabetes. Now, if you listen to her episode, she will talk about the fact that every week she was monitoring her baby, she was monitoring her blood sugar levels, everything was stable, and her baby was measuring her 50th percentile. Okay, her baby was smack bang in the middle, not too big, not too small. She asked her midwife what would happen if I didn't turn up at the hospital, and what would happen if I stayed at home and only made it to the birth center. And the midwife says, well, we cannot turn you away in that situation. So we will accept you if you turn up to the birth center and you are, you haven't got time to get to the hospital. That is exactly what Eliza did. She stayed at home for as long as she could. She turned up, and she was also, the procedures and policies say you can't get in the water to have a water birth if you've got gestational diabetes because the baby needs continuous monitoring. And that's just the policy. And Eliza said, thank you, but no thank you. I am going, I'm going to politely decline having my baby monitored the whole time. I'm going to birth in the water. Her midwife can't refuse that to her. And her midwife was actually quietly pretty happy that those are the questions she was asking. She was happy to support her. You are allowed to ask for what you want in any and every situation. Sometimes it's not easy because sometimes your midwife will feel a lot of pressure to really conform to the strict guidelines, but it is within your power because it's your birth, it's your baby, it's your body. It's within your power to say no to everything. It's within your power to be able to ask all the questions so that you can make an informed decision, okay, about this. And that's Eliza Kane has come out of her birth feeling amazing, amazing, amazing. A little thought about what makes the difference between a positive birth and a difficult or traumatic birth. Now, I do a lot of work with mums who have had traumatic experiences. It's usually, I haven't met them in the pregnancy. I usually meet them in a second pregnancy after a traumatic birth. And I help them process that birth, understand what happened, release the emotions that are stuck in their system so that they can move forward to have a much better experience. And you will hear a number of stories in the podcast that demonstrate exactly that. Birth trauma is not about what happens. Birth trauma is about how you feel about the process, how you were made to feel through the process, and only you get to define what a traumatic experience is, because two people could have it exactly the same experience. And shall we say, usually the biggest difference is, so say, for example, someone was planning a home birth and labor doesn't progress and they end up with a C-section, just as an example. Two people might have exactly the same experience. One feels positive about it, another one feels traumatized by it. And it usually comes down to the fact of how the decision-making process has been navigated. When you feel safe and supported with your partner and ideally your LMC, your midwife, your obstetrician, you will be able to ask questions along the way and you'll be able to make all the decisions. You and your partner will be able to make all the decisions about what you'd like to do through the process, whether it's waiting for labor to progress, whether it's changing up in different positions, doing different things, changing up environments, locations, whatever it might be. And if you've made all the decisions and if you have moved through that process feeling like you've, shall we say, held onto the reins of the horse, you are far more likely to come out of that process feeling like you did the best with the situation or the circumstances, as opposed to a mum who was maybe coerced, threatened, bullied, didn't know what questions to ask, didn't have a partner who could help ask questions, didn't know what her options were, and just told, right, you need to have a C-section, this is what's going to happen, and might come out of that process feeling like it was very, very traumatic. It's usually because they haven't kept a hold of the reins. They have not been able to ask the questions or navigate the process the way they wanted to. So it is really, really important to know what you can ask. And this is where I'm going to share with you quite quickly, and I spend a lot of time with this. I spend a decent amount of time in my courses, to understand how to be curious and how to take charge, or shall we say, how to keep hold of the reins on this horse of your labour and birth journey. So using your brains, and this might be a screen that you take a screenshot of or a photo of, and using this as just a formula to start the questioning process. If I do this, what are the benefits? And if I do this, what are the risks? What alternatives are there? And can I have some more information about it? Most decisions made around the birth process are not in a genuine, not in a like severe emergency. Very, very tiny percentage of births end up in an emergency situation. I know you will have heard of people have had emergency C-sections. That usually just refers to a C-section that wasn't previously booked in. It was an unplanned C-section. You may or may not have heard of somebody have a crash C-section, which is the actual genuine emergency where the procedure can happen in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. So you usually have time to gather more information and time to check in with how are you feeling about that? What does your gut feel about that? What does your intuition say? Are there any red flags? Does this feel right for me? Does this not feel right for me? What would happen if we did nothing? What would happen if we did nothing? What would happen if we said no thanks? And where can I get a second opinion from? And can I get a second opinion? And these days online, there are lots of second opinions. Not saying online on Facebook pages or things like that, but going to the researchers, going to the authors and the researchers that I laid out before, and finding out more information about that topic in that avenue. Because when you have a formula or a set of questions that you know to ask, or your partner knows how to ask, you can start to navigate things more. And I do have more information about that in my book. I do have a lot more information about that process in my courses, but that's just something that I really think is very valuable to start off the questioning process. Thinking about the environment too. How does the environment impact on your labour and birth? This is where, if you start to read Sarah Buckley's research, you will read that when we feel safe, supported, private, unobserved, relatively unobserved, the birthing hormones are free to do what they were designed to do, to help your labour progress, to help you give the feelings of high, of euphoria, of that buzz of meeting baby, and of labour progressing beautifully. So, you know, you may have thought about where you want to give birth, and it doesn't matter where you give birth as long as you feel safe. What kind of environment would you feel safest in? Is it an environment that may be mimicking more of an environment where you would feel safe creating a baby? Because the same hormones that flow through us when we practice to create a baby or create a baby are the very same hormones that we need to release in labour and birth. Where would you naturally go to a place with bright lights and have bright lights on in a room where people are potentially watching you? You know, how would it feel to have strangers telling you what to do, or you're on your back on a bed under bright lights? These are, of course, scenes from a movie. Or would it feel a little bit more intimate to have dim lighting? Maybe to be in the water or wherever, but I'm going to show you another image now. Hospital rooms. Now, the one on the left, yes, it's a bit OTT, but it kind of gives you the idea. You can take your own lighting into a hospital space. You can have a few fairy lights around. You can change up the feel. You can change the position of the bed, the furniture, etc., etc. You have the power to do all of that. What kind of environment would make you feel best, or make you feel safest, and allow the birthing hormones to flow in? This is a picture of this is actually Alex, so she's a midwife. She's allowed me to share these photos of her, of how she has changed up the space in North Shore Hospital. There's another picture of her somewhere else. That's not there. Maybe it's back here. No, it's not. Okay. Where she has put lighting up in all different parts of the room. But look how different the bed is. The bed doesn't have to be down flat. You don't have to be lying on the bed. You can use the bed like a bit of an armchair. You can get into all sorts of different positions. So manipulating any environment so that you feel safe in every fiber in your body it's really sensitive to safety in your labor and birth. It's looking out to be safe because we are hardwired to look out for danger in this very, very vulnerable time in our lives. We need to know if there's a tiger around the corner, because if there is and we need to move, our body's going to shut down labor so that we can run away. Now, obviously, you're not going to come face to face with a tiger, but what if the tiger is a suggestion, an idea, an intervention, and a person that you don't feel safe with? Sense of smell, oxytocin, the hormone that we need for labor to progress. If we're smelling something that smells dangerous, it's going to send a message. That sense of smell send a message you're not safe. What does the smell of hospital smell like for you? You can change that up. Essential oils. So understanding how you can manipulate and change up your environment. And when you start to learn more about birth, when you understand what you do have control of, when you understand how birth is designed to be this normal, natural, physiological, beautiful, empowering process, when you change the way you see birth, it will impact on the way that you birth. And this quote comes from Marie Mongan, who was the founder of the American Hypnobirthing Institute, who really, really had a huge impact on getting hypnobirthing around the world. And the lady on the page here, Sarah, she has the most incredible, amazing birth story. She was a mum who was absolutely terrified of birth. And when she met her midwife, she said, "I'm signing up for a C-section." And her midwife said, "Why? You don't need one." And she said, "Well, I'm so terrified of birth that I have to have one." And midwife put her in touch with me, and after 5 weeks, her whole view went on labor and birth completely changed. She learned how to breathe, she learned how to relax, and I want you to listen to her story. That's Sarah's Birth to Winnie on the podcast. She talks about the most incredible, she navigated some challenging aspects of her labor and birth, and she navigated it so well. And she is so incredibly proud of herself. And it's such a story of understanding when you change your mindset, everything changes. Very inspiring. So what is hypnobirthing? And some of the tools and techniques that I've been talking about are part of a hypnobirthing program, which is really a specialized antenatal course. It's providing practical tools and techniques for couples, you and your partner, you and your birth support person, to enable you to have the tools, the techniques, the information, the strategies to have a positive birth. And also all the skills are useful not just for labor and birth, but for life afterwards, life in that postnatal period, life with baby, life with children. And what you get out of a course like that is the ability to really change that mindset, to have a positive mindset, improving your thoughts and feelings about birth, combined with the specific tools and techniques that you can use in labor. And that includes the breathing techniques, relaxation, visualization, mindfulness, a whole range of tools for your birth partner. Birth partners are often surprised about how much they can do and how incredibly useful they can be. And the main underpinning philosophy is that when we are calm and relaxed, when our mind's in the right space, then we are lining everything up for our bodies to be able to do exactly what they're designed to do. And we can feel calm and comfortable through labor and birth. So you'll learn about how your body works, how those beautiful muscles of the uterus work, how do you use your mind to your advantage, learning deep relaxation, which you could call self-hypnosis. 3 different breathing techniques to be able to use in different stages of labor and birth. You will learn how to release fear and go through a process of releasing any fears and stories, and the benefits of connecting with your baby, how to feel confident in your decision-making processes through pregnancy, labor, birth, and life beyond, and mindfulness tools and techniques. It is not a set of tools of how birth has to be. I work with couples that can have any and every type of birth scenario. Yes, I work with couples who might be planning a normal natural home birth. I work with couples who might be like, I have no idea how my birth is going to go. They might be open to intervention. They might be open to pain relieving support for medications. They might not be. They might be planning on a C-section. So it's not for a certain type of birth whatsoever. And it's not just for the mum, it's for the birth partners too. And actually the birth partners, they actually get usually so much more than they ever believed that they could, because they can learn breathing and relaxation techniques for themselves that they can use in life and you can use in life too. So it's not just for birth, it is for your pregnancy, your labor, birth, and that postnatal period also, which is a time that lasts a lot longer than pregnancy, labor, and birth. And it's really good to have some really good tools for that time too. A lot of people go, so, the hypno stuff makes it sound a little bit woo-woo and a little bit weird. I'm a hypnotherapist. I work with the state of self-hypnosis all the time. And I'm here to tell you that that state of hypnosis, that state of self-hypnosis is one that you're already an expert at, okay? State of self-hypnosis is just this focused state of attention and relaxation. You've already experienced it millions of times. Every time you go off to sleep, you pass through that state of light sleep, which is the same state as a state of self-hypnosis. People often find themselves engaged in a screen, watching a movie, feeling all the feels, laughing out loud, getting tears in their eyes, feeling scared. That is a state of focused attention, and that is the same state as a state of self-hypnosis. And a lot of people have had the experience of highway hypnosis driving. And those times when you've driven from A to B and your mind has been off in a completely different direction, but still you have gone on autopilot, just driving, perfectly safe, perfectly fine. Yeah, that is the same state as a state of hypnosis. So it's not an unusual state to be in. You've had a lot of experience in it. But why we're using that state, and we're going to help you get into that state, and that is to help you download the programs that you need into the deeper part of your mind. Because when we go into that state, the rational, logical you, the argumentative part of you, or the part of your mind, the critical part of your mind, just goes offline. It gets a little bit calm, a little bit relaxed, and it enables us to download the programs, the ideas, the suggestions, the beliefs, which then the deeper part of your mind, the most powerful part of your mind, the mind of your body, has running around in the background and is there to automatically respond to. So as soon as we have programs in that deeper part of us, that is what our body will respond to. That is what we will respond to, like a really good habit, a really good set of behaviors. So it's all about understanding, getting the suggestions, the ideas, the beliefs, the tools and techniques into that deeper part of your mind so that you can use it in that unfamiliar setting of labor and birth quite easily. Yeah, it's, as I've already said this, is it beneficial, all this stuff? It's beneficial for a range of situations. You'll find that the tools that I teach can be used just as much when you're having a scary airplane ride with turbulence as to getting a blood test, blood pressure readings, helping to soothe your baby, all sorts of things. And midwives usually love it. This is a quote on the screen here from a midwife. And this is a picture of a different midwife who has used hypnobirthing in both of her births. And this midwife says that she believes hypnobirthing empowers women to take control of themselves. So there's that word control. Control in a situation where there might, you can't control a lot of things. You can control yourself during pregnancy and birth. I truly believe the power that the mind has. She sees a reduced rate for the need of epidurals. Women and partners enter labour with a much better understanding of the actual process of birth, what the body is doing, and how they can help themselves. To tap into the mind is a wonderful way to keep birth undisturbed and natural. Yeah. So if any of this resonates with you, do you want to enjoy a positive birth? I want to make it easy for you to gain access to the information, the tools, the techniques, the support that you need to have your positive birth. And this is another amazing story. Sophie here on the screen here with baby Blakely, another example of a mum who was absolutely terrified of birth. She was another one. Sign me up for a C-section. I think I'm going to need a C-section. And her midwife says, no, I don't think you do. I think you just need this course. And Sophie talks all about her. She calls it a 180, a seismic mind shift of 180 degrees. She changed her mind about how birth was, and then look at her holding her baby, and she's so incredibly proud of herself for having the birth that she wanted. in the pool at Birth Care. So just to let you know the types of courses that I run, and I would love to share with you the information and the knowledge that I share in the courses, because of course in this time frame I'm really restricted. I only got 90 minutes tonight. I need 12 hours. Well, I have a 12-hour course called the Ultimate Course, which I run live online. I run it live in the North Shore, and I also run a one-day retreat, which is most of the sessions, most of the content live in person, and then 2 sessions online. That includes, so the cost for that option is $455 per couple, and that includes everything for you and your partner. That includes the book, that includes a comprehensive course workbook. It includes affirmation, a set of affirmation cards, 15 different affirmation cards that you can use. It includes a variety, it's about 15 different audio tracks to use for your practice. But most importantly, what it includes is ongoing support, which a lot of parents actually find really useful, because if you were to do this a course midway through your pregnancy, as a lot of couples do, you don't know what's coming up at the end of your pregnancy. There's been a couple that were actually, they're not in the photo, but they were in this course, who a couple of weeks after they finished their course found out that their baby was breech, found out that they needed really some help with dealing with some things that were just coming up for them. And I was able to work with them. We did 2 online sessions, private sessions, all included, that enabled them to just get into a different mindset, of mind frame, and to help prepare them for a breech turn. So they went and had an ECV, which is where babies manually turned. And because this mum was feeling so calm and so relaxed, and she'd gotten rid of, she was really tense and tight beforehand, she had a 30% chance of turning baby, and baby turned. And so now they're about a week away from their due date, and she is feeling so good. And I'm so glad I got to do some extra sessions with them in that situation to help them. So ongoing support can be quite helpful. This is a picture from Bali Garden, where I do the retreat day, and the next one is in July. So if your baby is due August, September, October, November, perfect for you. There is the online course as well, which I've got an online version of that, which starts next Monday evening. Another alternative, obviously more cost effective and time effective, the Essentials course, which I run live online and also do live in Warkworth. And that does include everything. It includes all the tuition. It includes your information cards, comprehensive workbook. But of course, you can always buy the book, or you can get it at the library. So I just want to let you know that this book is available in the library if it's not out already, and you can ask the library to get more in. So a lot of information there that you can get. Best time to start. If you are here right now, now is the time to book in for your course. Because if you're pregnant right now, book in. The best time to start is any time from 18 weeks, and it's never too late to start. I've taught couples late on at 36, 37 weeks who have still reaped the benefits of these tools and techniques, but earlier is better. Earlier gives you the time to really immerse yourself in the tools and techniques and use them for your benefit and your baby's benefit and your pregnancy. So sooner rather than later. If you are in a situation where you want to be even more cost effective, time effective, there are 2 different online recorded courses which you can have a look at. The Birth with Calm and Confidence course, which is going to give you access for life and give you about 4.5 hours worth of tuition, videos, audio tracks that you can keep and use. Also, there's a cheaper course for $99. Where I got that? Oh, okay. And the short and sweet course. So there are some options there for the online recorded tuition, which a lot of couples say is really helpful for just doing snippets at a time, where you've got 15 minutes to sit down together and do one a night or one every couple of weeks. Spread it out or do it however you want. Some people binge them. I had one lady who binge watched the birth, the 4.5 hour one in the space of a day, and feels really prepared and ready to go. Also other options if you want to get in touch for a one-on-one session. Yes, I absolutely very happy to do one-on work with you, whether that's for releasing fears, for helping you through a difficult previous birth experience, a trauma release or a healing birth session, any type of birth prep planning, and any type of hypnotherapy, whether that's for completely non-birth related stuff. Really happy to help you there. Love to help you there. And know that I'm going to give you a bit of a special soon. You can just purchase the book or just the affirmation cards or a set. So, and you can dive on into the podcast and get lots of information there. So if you want to take advantage of a good chunk of savings and you'd like to join the Ultimate course, I have one starting next Monday live online. You're welcome to come and get around about $45 off that course for that one that starts live online next Monday, and that's run over 5 Mondays. We do around about 2.5 hours over 5 weeks. So it's nicely spread out. It's actually one of my favorite ways to run the course because you get the information, you take away, you embed it, you come back for a little bit more, and etc. etc. Or 10% off the Life Essentials course, which I'm running live online, which starts in April. Yes, payment plans, really happy to work with you on whatever might work for you on that. So that special will remain for just 48 hours if you would like to take advantage of that. You just need to get in touch with me to book in or to find out more about those 2 courses. And also another special, if you decide, no, I just want to read the book, or I'd like to read the book and have a look at all the information that's in there. And most people say it's really easy to read. They really find it makes sense, and it's not a difficult read. There's that there. That's got tools and techniques in it, and some access to some audio tracks in there as well. If you buy that in the next 48 hours, then I will give you the affirmation cards, which are worth around about $20. I'll give you that for free. So the book's $35, so you're getting a bit of a good deal, and that includes postage as well. $35 for all of that. In the next 48 hours, just for you if you are here on our call tonight. Also, for those of you who are still here, well done. Would you like to go into the draw to win an online course, the short and sweet course, the online course that you can jump into and learn a whole lot of tools and techniques? If you're not already following me on Instagram, there's my page, positive_births_NZ. If you want to find me and send me a message and say yes, then you will go into the draw to win. And if you're not on Instagram, I bet you that. Yeah, cool. Yeah. If you don't have Instagram, yes, there are absolutely other options. I was about to say that. Email me, helen@positivebirths.co.nz, and you will go into the draw too. Just email me, say yes for the draw. I'll know what you mean. And I will draw that tomorrow. And I also will do another draw. One lucky person will win a copy of the Positive Birth book. So if you'd like to go into that draw to you'll either win well, I'm not guaranteeing that you'll win. Somebody will win the short and sweet Positive Births online course, and somebody will win the Positive Birth book. So you've made it near to the end. And if you'd like to stay longer, and isn't it interesting, I've made it to time. And I usually always go over time, and I always think, I want to tell you more. I want to tell you more. I want to tell you more. This could easily go on for 2.5 hours. I have rattled on for 90 minutes, and I would love to also give you a breath work and relaxation exercise to connect in with baby right now. I'm also going to give you the opportunity to ask any questions. And if you want to ask any questions, I'm going to stay online after we've done the connection and relaxation exercise. If you want to stay on and ask any questions, if you've got any questions, feel free. You can email me, helen@positivebirths.co.nz, or send me something on Instagram, or put something in the chat box. Really happy to answer that. And most importantly, I really want to share with you a kind of a phrase that I use quite often. And I say, you have everything you need within you. You have everything you need within you to do this birth, to have this birth, to rock this birth. And really what I'm meaning is that you have so much power within you. Most of the time we've grown up believing that birth is a difficult, nasty, traumatic, horrible experience and that there's something wrong with our bodies. And it's not true. You have so much power. You have so much capability. You have so much within you to be able to do this. But what I'm going to say is get your mind into the right space. Find the tools that you need, the support that you need to help you feel that way, to unlock the power, to unleash the power. When you go into labor and birth feeling empowered and move through the process feeling empowered, you will come out the other side an empowered mother. And that will really make a difference to your mothering journey. So when you do the prep for labor and birth, you're not just doing it for this time in life, you're doing it actually for the future you. You're doing it for your kids, because it does impact on the way that you end up parenting. And your birth is something that you will remember for the rest of your life. It is a huge transformative experience. So I want you to know you've got everything within you, but just don't leave it to chance. Don't go, oh, you know, it's just going to be fine. I'll just rock up and see what happens. Do a bit of work, do a bit of prep. Alrighty. Okay, what I'm going to do now. Okay, how long does it take to get the book by post? A couple of days. If you order it tonight, I'll pop it to post tomorrow. Based on North Shore, do you know what? I'm in Warkworth, okay? It usually is quicker to get the book to Invercargill than it will be to get it to the North Shore. And, it'll take a few days usually. It comes by post, but it comes by post with tracking post. You're welcome, ladies. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put on I'm going to put on some music. And I'm really hoping that for you, you'll be able to hear the music. And I want anyone to let me know if there is a major issue and for some reason you can't hear me or the music. And it's coming through in a moment. Bear with me. And this music is just some nice or relaxing music to have in the background while we do. Okay, it's not playing ball, is it? Here we go. While we do this little, we don't need it, but I'm just going to add it for a nice touch. And I'm wondering if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and the music right now. Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? If anyone is having an issue not being able to hear me or not being able to, yeah, okay, I've got lots of, okay, cool. Thumbs up, thank you so much. Okay. All right, I want you to make yourself nice and comfortable now. Nice and comfortable. If you've got any bright lights on, you might like to switch those off. And I want you, as you're making yourself comfortable, to just place your hands on your belly. If there's any partners that are here who aren't pregnant, you can place your hands on your belly too, but we're going to think about the baby that's in your partner's belly. I just want you, as you place your hands on your belly, to, if you're comfortable to let your eyes softly close. Just become aware of your breath and your breathing. Just noticing each in-breath, noticing each out-breath. Becoming aware of any movement in your stomach as your baby might move, kick, wriggle, squirm. You're just focusing on breathing in and out of your belly now. So it may feel like your belly is expanding on the inhale and slightly softening on the exhale. Yes, you'll notice that even when your belly is full of baby. Become aware of all the noises that you can hear, both inside and outside of the room. And I want you now to take what we're going to do is we're going to take some nice deep breaths in. We're going to breathe into the count of 4 and we're going to breathe out to the count of 8. In a moment, we're going to take 3 nice deep breaths. So getting ready, breathing in and out through your nose, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once again, in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just let that breath return to a normal, natural breathing pace, still connected with the breath, but now shifting your focus to all the tiny, tiny muscles in and around your eyelids. I want you to just allow all those tiny, tiny muscles to go completely loose and limp and lazy. Those eyelids relaxing all the way to the point where they just feel so very, very comfortably closed. Just imagine that same sense of relaxation drift down over your cheeks. You let go. You let go of any expression that's resting on your face. And you allow your mouth and your jaw to become soft and loose and limp. That lower jaw just drooping and softening right down. Really letting go of any tension that might be in that jaw. When we relax the jaw, we send a really powerful message down to the pelvic floor. They are connected. Relaxed jaw, relaxed pelvic floor are very, very important for your labor, for your birth. And with that face soft and relaxed, allowing that sense of relaxation to drift down through your neck and through your shoulders. Just let your shoulders sink further into the frame of your body, sink further back into whatever you're resting on. And imagine now this relaxation like a soft mist or a warm liquid, gently drifting, floating, melting, softening, all the way down the tops of your arms, your elbows, your lower arms, drifting and floating and softening through your wrists, your hands, your fingers, so that your arms now, just like your eyelids, loose, limp, soft, relaxed. And with every breath now, you allow this soft relaxation to drift through your chest, through your stomach, around your baby's home, and around and into your baby. And it's time now to connect in with your baby. With every breath now, it's time to just get the idea of directing all of your love down into your baby. Baby, growing baby, inside their little home in here. I want you to take a moment now to appreciate all that you have already achieved. Appreciating the miraculous process of conception. How this life was formed. This life developing, growing. Your body is remarkable. The creation of life is incredible. I want you to celebrate the stage of pregnancy you're at right now, no matter what stage or where you're at, each and every day. This is a miracle occurring right inside of you. Send a wave of love to your baby. As you send that love, I want you to know that prenatal researchers have discovered that a baby's awareness starts very early on in pregnancy. Your baby has a basic level of awareness, a level of consciousness. These prenatal researchers, they know that the most important thing for your baby to know, to feel, is that you know that you're in there. That this baby is wanted and that they are loved. That's all they need to know. So spending those moments to just send those messages to your baby silently. Hey baby, we know you're in there. You are loved. You are wanted. We are so looking forward to meeting you. The baby has chosen you as their parents. Your baby trusts you. Your baby knows that you are doing the best job in every way you can. Facilitate their development and their arrival into the world. Your body has an innate wisdom. It knows how to grow a baby. It knows how to birth a baby. And your baby has a wisdom too. They know what to do. And you need to trust this process and trust yourself. I want you to connect with that part of you. That's right, that wise, knowing, instinctive part of you. That part of you has guided you here tonight to receive information and to carry on with the journey so that you can feel calm, confident, and prepared for your baby's arrival. Pregnancy and birth is an experience that the two of you, both you and your baby, journey through together. And together the two of you can work harmoniously, symbiotically, fully connected. This is your baby's birth as well as yours. You both share this experience. And as you feel the love and marvel at this miracle of life, you are in a deeply connected state right now. If you would like to, take a moment to thank your baby for choosing you, to thank your baby for coming to you. And if there's any special messages that you wish to pass to baby, just silently sending those now. You are safe. Your baby is safe. You are secure. You are well supported. And you trust your body's innate wisdom to do what it is designed to do. And it's time to bring your awareness back into the breath now. When you're ready, taking a deep breath in through your nose and let that breath out with a sigh. And once again, a nice deep breath in through the nose and a sigh as you let that breath out. And one last time, this last deep breath in and out. Feel a beautiful sense of energy begin to flow through your entire body, knowing that you can connect with your baby anytime you choose. And when you're ready, coming back into the room, coming back into your awareness, ready, opening your eyes. Welcome back. And if you'd like to stay for any questions, do feel free. And if I don't get to meet you or see you again, I'm going to wish you all the best for your positive birth journey. You have everything you need within you. And I hope that I do meet some of you. Love to meet you. Love to work with you. Thanks, Greta. You're welcome, everyone. See you later, everyone. Well, welcome. Thank you for all the lovely messages. Got any questions, jump in now, or else I'm about to hit you.